welcome you all to the last segment for lecture 7. So in this segment, basically we will just have a quick wrap up of different strategies that were used by capital exporting countries in order to protect foreign investment, because we've been looking at protection of foreign investment, right? So we could see that there were many different strategies that were employed by capital exporting countries from 17th century to the 19th century. Colonialism, gunboat diplomacy, extraterritorial jurisdiction, extraterritorial application of law. So what we see is, by the end of the 19th century, the standards for protecting foreign investment got cemented, right? So it's like that, what had happened from 17th to 19th century is that spelling out of the standards of protection for foreign investment, and also what would be the consequence if a host state departs from such a standard, or if it takes an adverse measure against foreign investment, the consequences, the negative consequences by the home state. So all of them were clearly getting spelled out from 17th to 19th century. So by the end of 19th century, we see that protection to foreign investment had taken a firm root in the form of different international doctrines, international legal principles, whatever form it could take root, it had taken complete root. Now, this clearly gives us a stark comparison between an industrialized, armed, capital exporting countries on the one hand, and then we have a weak, underdeveloped capital importing countries. So if a capital exporting country wants to espouse a cause of its nationals, or to protect the foreign investment made by its nationals, it can do so by numerous means. It can do so by force, it can do so by arbitration, it can do so by diplomacy. All of these got cemented by the end of the 19th century. So only how to protect foreign investment sort of had taken its roots by the end of the 19th century. So what we see here is, even when these strategies started taking root, there were debate at the international level with regard to the concept of gunboat diplomacy, especially after Venezuela bombing. In the context of many international conferences, inter-American conferences, Hague conferences, countries started debating with regard to the legitimacy of gunboat diplomacy. And then with the establishment of United Nations and the Convention for the peaceful resolution of international disputes, the practice of gunboat diplomacy became outlawed. We could see that the last instance of gunboat diplomacy was in the context of attack on Egypt after it had nationalized Suez Canal in 1957. That seems to be the last exercise of gunboat diplomacy. When that became outlawed, then a new practice of protecting foreign investor became popular. That is, the countries would confer diplomatic protection on the foreign investor and would espouse a cause of the foreign investor before an international forum. It could be PCIJ, it could be ICJ, it could be Mixed Claims Arbitral Tribunal. So when the practice of conferring diplomatic protection on foreign investors started taking place, then an international principle of minimum standard of treatment also started developing. So they demanded, the capital exporting countries demanded that there should be minimum standard of treatment that should be given to aliens in the sense the foreign investors, that has to be there. So we will discuss about the concept of minimum standard of treatment. So this, I feel, is the more legitimate way compared to other methods of giving protection to foreign investment. So we will discuss this in detail in the next lecture itself. So to quickly wrap up this lecture, many strategies were used from 17th to 19th century. By the end of 19th century, one thing got settled, that is, various strategies were used for protecting foreign investment that could range from colonization to extraterritorial application of European laws. Whatever the strategies that the countries had used, that was not linear. because the capital exporting countries use different strategies in different places. We'd seen in the last few videos, right? The strategy it had used for Africa was something different from the strategy it had used in Latin America, and that's different from the strategies it had used in the context of China and Japan. So the strategy that a capital exporting country used to afford protection to foreign investment differed based on different cultural backgrounds, different legal and economic systems, and different levels of civilization, different degrees of power and prestige. So many of these factors played a role for a capital exporting country to decide on the appropriate method of giving protection to foreign investment. So there's no linear growth. We cannot attempt at saying that this country practiced this method from this time period to that time period. So such a thing cannot happen. Such a study also cannot happen. So just understand what were the strategies that were used by capital exporting countries, and then in the next lecture we will be discussing about one other strategy that was used by capital exporting countries, that was the international principle of minimum standard of treatment. That we will discuss in detail in the next video. Thank you.